Welcome to my little video note, and I just wanted to jump on and give you a little bit of information about the post that I am releasing tomorrow over on Substack. And it's affectionately called, in the title of this post, Unfolding Your Own Myth to Freedom and Your Greatest Fortunes, Truth, Creativity, and Expression. All about us, how our stories become our myths, and how sometimes we can be living those myths for longer than is required when we outgrow our stories, and also how these myths can then also trigger us if we haven't reviewed them when we come up with new projects or new situations that we find ourselves in. And it's quite potent to me because I found myself triggered yesterday when I opened this from Papia. And in the post I talk a little bit about just before COVID and during the first part of COVID, how I started a manuscript. I wrote the first 10,000 words. I pitched a Penguin, and then it didn't happen. COVID happened. And then now finding my way back and into creativity and expression and creating this, just the cover, not the content. We already have a plan for the content. Um, and basically what we can do to to stop perpetrating those myths when we need to move forward. Also in the post tomorrow there will be a poem which originated out of the course that I did with Beth Kempton the week before last on her spring light writing retreat sanctuary, which was amazing. Can't recommend it enough. And so a lot of words and a lot of feelings and expression came out of that I could use in this piece. So there is a longer poem than the first poem that I wrote, just playing around with words and expression, and it seemed to fit and really resonated with the essence of this post. I also share in the post some prompts and practices as well. There'll be an audio version for the paid subscribers and the full length poem for paid subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you think you might like to, then go ahead and check it out. But I wanted to just share with you the first part of the poem, and then a couple of prompts and practices that you can ponder on. So let us take a comfortable seat. So find yourself where you can sit with a nice tall spine and place your hands either on your knees or in cosmic mudra or wherever is comfortable for you. Nice tall spine. You can have your feet on the floor, or if you're seated, just cross your legs, whatever works for you. And then let's just close our eyes and drop into our seat and just take a few moments to connect with ourselves here. And as you do that, start to find your way to your breath, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. Excuse me, I have a little bit of hay fever this morning, so my nose is a little bit twitchy. And then allow the mindfulness to your breath. Allow that to start to soften around the exterior rigidity that you may have in your thoughts or whatever you're feeling physically this morning, and just let it be. And then just witness those thoughts that are coming in, and then exhale them out. Exhale them to let them pass away. So just clearing, sweeping the thoughts away. But you have to acknowledge them first. Take a couple of more deep breaths here. And if you prefer to have your eyes open, you can have your eyes open, but just maybe look about a foot along the floor in front of you. And I'm going to read you the first part of the poem. Unfolding your myth with mirrors and light. Light mirrors life, reflecting back to us what we have chosen to ignore, uncovering undiscovered depths. We find ourselves answering inquiries through a different lens, helping us breathe again. Into a new experience we go, not knowing what lies ahead or which way to go. Good. Okay. You can keep your eyes closed if you prefer, or open. And then I just want to share with you a couple of prompts and practices. So the first prompt is, when was the last time you honestly reviewed your own myth, story? Or when did you create the time to really go a little bit deeper? Meaning, is it really true with where you find yourself now? That's number one. Second prompt, what areas of your life need a light shining on now? So, prompt number two, what areas of your life need a light shining on now? Then, practices. You may or may not like to do this. It can be a trigger for a lot of people, but looking at yourself in a mirror and really taking the time to see what is reflected back to you. So, in other words, can you see past the surface view or the old story? That's practice number one. Number two, get a journal, a notepad, and physically write this down. What has changed for you since you last checked in with yourself? Mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So, this question is a physical act. That is important. It's a prompt, yes, but it's a physical act of you actually doing. There's something different that happens when we get a pen and a journal and we actually write. We write what comes up for us rather than type or put it in our notes on our iPhones or Kindles or whatever, or iPads. And interestingly enough, going off subject a little bit, but when I was studying psychology in Cambridge, there were a couple of modules that we did around the impact in the brain and how the brain changes when we physically write as opposed to when we type. There's something different that happens to the neurons in our brain, which is for the good, for the better. So I think, like, finding this balance when we look at writing, or when we look at journaling, it's important to have this balance of, yes, definitely use the technology because it's great and that's what it's there for, to make our lives easier, but also have the connection with paper and pen, because that actually has a different sensation for the body as well, and a different impact on our mind. So yes, so just to go over that, prompts: when was the last time you reviewed your myth, your story? Meaning, is it really true with where you find yourself now? This is a great prompt to ask yourself, or when you come out of meditation. Maybe before, but probably I would do it after. Second prompt: what areas of your life need a light shining on? This is a really good one to do after meditation. Really good one to do after meditation. And then the practices were taking a look in the mirror, how you see yourself, I talk about that in the post, because how you see yourself is how others see you. How you perpetuate your myth is how others will see that myth and attach yourself, will attach you to that myth. So when we come to myths and stories, we're trying to bring in some of the practices of mindfulness when we have a certain detachment to them as well. Excuse me. And then the second practice, using a pen and paper. What has changed for you since you last checked in with yourself, mentally and physically? So I'd be interested to see your comments, hear your thoughts. And as I say, I'll be releasing this post tomorrow. So yeah, I hope that you enjoy it and you find it helpful. Thank you for watching.